Celtics just took Game 1 of the NBA Finals. Celtics just took a 1-0 lead today in the NBA Finals, hoping to reclaim that championship title. One of the biggest reasons that they won today is from this man, Kristaps Porzingis. I mean, he came out and looked like he was playing the entire time. Like, he was in rhythm. You know who he looked like? Kevin Durant. If you watch Kevin Durant play, you know that every single time Kevin Durant comes back from an injury, the first game back, he'll basically drop 30 and be shooting like 60%, like super efficient. To me, it reminded me of all the times that KD has come back from an injury, but especially when he came back Game 5. Was it Game 5 of the NBA Finals? I'm pretty sure it was Game 5 against Toronto, and he came out and he scored like 12 straight and like did not miss a shot, and then obviously we know, his Achilles tear and stuff like that. But that's how Porzingis came out, except Porzingis obviously, is healthy. Porzingis was like 8 for 10 from the field in the first half, had like 18 points, and then he only ends up scoring like 2 points in the second half. He did all his damage in the first half, but that's when they needed it. Like, he put them up big time. They 100% don't win this game without him, because not only, of course, the way he was scoring in the first half, it just gave them an energy boost, but also defensively, he had like 3 blocks in the first half. I think he finished the game with 5 blocks. Like, he was all over the floor. This is a competitive advantage I talked about in a previous video when I was talking about the Celtics, is that Porzingis gives them something that basically no one in the league has. Someone who's 7'3", but shoots the 3, very well, better than even some guards. So he forces the defense, especially Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford, anybody who is guarding him, which typically would be a big, to have to come out on the perimeter, which would stop the defense from being able to gather rebounds and, protect the rim. And so that's where it becomes a problem for the defense. Besides that, I gotta be honest, I didn't love Dallas's defensive strategy in the first half. In the third quarter, they obviously played much better up until, the last 3 minutes or so of the third quarter. And I chalk up half of the, mishaps that they had in the first half due to inexperience and kind of being a little bit nervous, I guess, because you could tell, and like they're not going to say it obviously, and I'm not there, so I guess I can't 100% say, but you could tell that in the first half, you know what it reminds me of? The Celtics, when they played the Warriors in 2022, and the Celtics were just making like very strange, mistakes and turnovers and plays. And obviously the Warriors forced a lot of that because they knew they had experience, they knew what to do. But some of it was just like rookie mistakes in a way. That's what it kind of felt like to me for Dallas in the first half. That's what they kind of looked like. Like, you could tell that a lot of them had never been to the NBA Finals. And obviously you have to learn from experience, so that happens, and I'm not blaming them for that. I'm just saying that's what it kind of looked like to me, on top of obviously the Celtics having experience and knowing how to take advantage of the moment. And also, again, I didn't love Dallas's defensive strategy. Granted, it's extremely difficult to guard the three-point line in the NBA in general, but especially Boston, who has shooters everywhere. But I feel like Boston was getting a lot of pretty wide open or close to wide open threes. And so they were just taking a bunch of threes, and they made so many of them in the first quarter, in the first half. And I said this before, when guarding Boston, what I would do if I was the defense, I would just not allow threes. You're going to have to give something up, right? Like, obviously they're going to score one way, but I'd rather them drive to the basket and make twos, because we've seen when teams do a strategy kind of like that, like Miami does that sometimes when they play Boston, and the games are always at least close. Like, you have a chance to win, because threes obviously equal more than 2. They just do math-wise. And I feel like the threes also fuel the Celtics' energy to just like play better. Like, when they are hitting threes, they feel like they're unstoppable. And I'm not personally saying they're not stoppable. What I'm saying is the Celtics themselves, the players on the team, feel like they're unstoppable, because if they're making threes, that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, can drive to the basket anytime they want. So that's why I would, as a strategy, would just not allow threes, because they're going to be able to drive to the basket anyway at some point, during the game. So if you're allowing threes, and they're going to get their drives to the basket, and they'll probably get some fouls in there as well, what are you really like stopping? Like, you have to get rid of something in order to win. So the one thing that you can at least prevent from happening more so is all those 3-pointers being taken. I'll take my chances also in letting them drive to the rim, and Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford have proven to be very good rim protectors. Now again, if Porzingis is on the floor, they have to go to the 3-point line, so that's a whole nother story. But I'm taking my chances by letting them drive to the rim, and if anything, make them earn it at the free throw line. They have had some free throw struggles in the past, at times, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. So I'm going to make them earn it. That's just my personal opinion. And from the Celtics standpoint, they did exactly what they should have done. Like, obviously, they took advantage of the moment. They made their threes. They were poised. They were controlled. They didn't make too many, even when they were making mistakes, they made sure to make up for them. Like, it felt like at times in the past, they would make mistakes and it would just be an avalanche and they just make more mistakes and more mistakes. This time, it felt like, okay, we made two errors, 2 plays in a row. Let's stop that. And when the lead got cut to 8, when the Mavericks cut it to 8, Boston said, watch this, and they went right back up 20. And in years past, I felt like the Celtics would just let the lead continue to wither away, rather than what they did today. And what they have done more so in this playoffs is, potentially losing some of their lead, but then making sure that they get back on track and push it back up. So overall, this was a very, very good game played by the Celtics. They did what they needed to do, especially, this is their second chance at the NBA Finals in 2 years, and they definitely don't want to lose again. I'm interested to see what adjustments Dallas makes. Obviously, Kyrie Irving didn't shoot the ball well, and that's, those kind of things will come around. I'm interested to see what strategy they change up. And they've been pretty good about that in the playoffs, so I think they will make adjustments. Jason Kidd is smart, but I'm just curious to see, I think they should go with, we are not allowing 3-pointers. We're not. We're just not allowing it. If you gotta take a 3-pointer, it's gonna be contested in your face. Otherwise, go to the basket. And someone will, rotate over and try to protect the rim best they can. So I'm interested to see what Dallas does for the next game, because whatever strategy they went with today obviously did not work. And as I always say, hindsight is 20/20. They had to try something. And game 1 is always a feel-out game, so do keep that in mind for both teams. Boston got to see what Dallas, was going to do offensively and defensively, and same thing other way around. So now it's really about the adjustments each team makes in order to keep winning. Because if you do the same thing over and over again, the other team usually will, figure something out. So I'm interested to see actually both teams' adjustments. I wonder what the Celtics are going to do, because Luka got his, of course. They were kind of not allowing Luka to be a passer, which is kind of a strategy that teams use against Jokic, make him a scorer, not a passer. And it's a little bit different because they're different players. Luka still always usually scores and will lead the league in points, basically, and still get his, 9-10 assists. But you saw tonight, he only ended up with, he had 1 at one point. And the Mavericks as a team only had 5 in the fourth quarter. So they definitely need to pass the ball more.